It's been months, and I still haven't used a public bathroom stall after that night. I can't forget the sound. Something growled my name from behind that door. If I had opened it, I don't think I'd still be here. It was just past midnight when the show started. Amanda's idea, of course. She'd been talking about this indie horror flick for a week. There was a buzz about it online, and she'd read everything she could find. People calling it disturbing, psychological. For me, midnight always carried a certain weight. The world outside feels emptier, quieter, a little too still. And that night, the theater we ended up in matched that feeling perfectly. The place wasn't much to look at. Old building, peeling paint on the outside. The kind of place people didn't really go to anymore unless they had no other option. But it was closer to Amanda's place. Since this had been kind of a last-minute decision, convenience won out over comfort. The lobby was nearly deserted when we walked in. Inside the screening room, there couldn't have been more than a handful of people. A couple in the back, 2 guys near the middle, and us. The rest of the rows were just shadows. It felt more like a rehearsal than a real screening. I wasn't exactly dying to see it. Horror was never really my thing. The good ones had a way of creeping under my skin, making my palms sweat and leaving me tense for hours afterward. It wasn't fun for me, the way it was for Amanda, but Amanda had a way of talking me into things. That pretty smile, that innocent look when she wanted something really bad. It got me almost every time. I couldn't say no, so I told her I was down. It was her night. I'd grin through whatever stunt the director had cooked up and be happy she was happy. For the first 15-20 minutes, I tried to be into it. Amanda was sunk in, the kind of rapt attention that makes you feel like the rest of the world vanished. She leaned forward, shoulders loose, breathing shallow. The movie itself, though, it wasn't getting to me at all. It was slow, artsy, for the sake of it. Instead of scaring me, it just left me restless. All I could think about was the low rumble in my stomach, nagging at me. I leaned close to her ear and whispered, "You want popcorn?" She flicked her eyes at me, but kept them locked on the screen. "Yeah, but hurry. You might miss the good part." "Sure," I said, like I cared. Truth was, I didn't give a damn about missing the so-called good part. All I wanted was to fill my stomach with something warm and greasy, and honestly, just get out of there for a while. The movie wasn't just boring. It was making me uncomfortable in that low-level way horror always did, but without the payoff of actually being scary. So I slid out of my seat, careful not to block anyone's view, and slipped into the quiet of the lobby. The lobby was nearly empty, lit by harsh, fluorescent lights. The popcorn machine glowed like some ancient shrine. I got 2 medium buckets, loaded them with butter, grabbed a soda, started heading back toward the theater. That's when I felt it. Not a sudden emergency, more like a nudge. A slow pressure in my gut telling me I should probably hit the restroom. It wasn't urgent, but at that moment I figured, why not? I could hand Amanda her popcorn, then duck into the loo and kill some time. Maybe watch a few highlights of the best soccer goals. Something I loved, something to break up the drag of the movie. On the way back, I grabbed a few bites of popcorn from the bucket meant for me. Just enough to take the edge off, planning to dig in properly once I got back. When I reached our row, I leaned down and handed Amanda both buckets and the soda. "Here, hold these for me. I'll have mine when I get back." She looked up at me, surprised, balancing them all in her lap. "What? Where are you going?" "Need to use the restroom. I'll be back." She frowned, whispering, "But what about the movie? You're gonna miss it." I shrugged, putting on a helpless look. "It's urgent." My stomach screaming out loud. She sighed but nodded, adjusting the buckets in her lap, her eyes already back on the screen. That was all the opening I needed. I bailed. The men's restroom was down this narrow hallway past all these framed movie posters. Old classics, mostly. Psycho, The Thing, The Shining. All smiling or screaming faces locked behind dusty glass. The floor tiles squeaked under my sneakers. The hallway reeked faintly of mildew and bleach. I passed a janitor's closet, noticed the flickering light above the restroom door. It buzzed every couple of seconds, like it was shorting out. When I pushed open the men's restroom door, it groaned on its hinges. Heavy, old. The kind of door you couldn't miss if someone came in behind you. Inside, it was empty, cold, echoey. A long mirror stretched across the wall, hanging above 2 sinks. chrome dulled by streaks of grime. Every sound bounced back at me twice as loud. I glanced down the row of stalls. Every single door hung open, swaying slightly. Empty. I was alone. I was sure of it. The air hit me next. It reeked of chemicals, that sharp, sterile sting of bleach. But it didn't quite cover something else beneath it. Something older, metallic, the kind of smell that makes the back of your throat tighten, like rusted pipes or dried blood. I picked the third stall on the right. The lock clicked shut with a hollow snap. I sat down, phone in hand, letting out a slow breath. I opened YouTube, let a reaction video play, then flipped to soccer highlights, bright commentary, roaring crowds. It was silly, but the sound grounded me, normal, familiar. I'd been sitting there for about 10 minutes, watching videos, when I finally felt the real urge hit, the kind that reminded me why I came in here in the first place. I leaned forward, elbows on my knees, getting comfortable, and that's when I heard it. Footsteps, slow, approaching. My head snapped up. The restroom door hadn't opened. I would have heard it. The damn thing was so heavy and creaky you couldn't miss it, especially in a silence like this. And yet, someone was in here. The sound grew closer, deliberate, pressing against the silence between each step, and then a voice broke it. "Mark, baby, you in here?" Amanda's voice, or close enough to it. My thumb froze above the screen. I swallowed. "Amanda, is that you?" "Yes, babe, where you at?" Her tone was right, her rhythm was right, but something underneath it was off, like a recording just slightly warped. I tried to laugh it off. "What you doing here? This is the men's loo." Pause, no answer. Then soft, "I wasn't enjoying the movie as such. It's a drag." So I thought, why don't we get a bit kinky? Where the hell are you? I blinked, a nervous laugh slipping out. "Kinky, huh? What?" I chuckled, trying to lighten the weirdness. "Is that really you talking?" Silence. That's when the thought hit me. Wait, Amanda's never been like this. Sure, we've had our moments, but she's not the kind to fool around in a public place. She's too decent for that, always has been. My skin prickled. This wasn't her. Ignoring the red flags. Maybe I just wasn't in the mood to overthink. I brushed it off. I wasn't completely freaked out yet, so without giving it much thought, unaware of what I was actually inviting, I tapped twice on the stall. "Third one on the right. Give me a minute. Let me finish." The footsteps came again. Slow, heavy, each step scraping the tile, dragging weight with it. Then they stopped. Through the gap beneath the door, I saw them. Shoes. Cream-colored platforms. Tiny black hearts near the heel. Amanda's shoes. I knew because I'd bought them for her birthday, and tonight I'd seen her slip them on before we left her place. No doubt, they were hers. Too real. She turned toward my stall. Stood there. Still. Then, knock. Light. Playful. "Babes, open up." Her voice sounded casual, but the feet didn't move. I tried to play along. "Hold on. Let me finish." Silence. 4 seconds, maybe 5. Then, bang, the door shook. "I said open up," she growled. Not spoken. Growled. The sound carried gravel, thick and jagged, like something stuck in her throat. Scratching followed. Soft at first, like nails tracing wood, then deeper, longer, drawing lines. Shh, shh, shh. Not fingernails, no. Too long, too sharp. The vibration carried through the stall, into my knees pulled tight to my chest. Sweat crawled down my neck. Amanda wouldn't do this. She wouldn't. Not here. Not ever. Then louder, harsher. "You coming out, or should I break this door?" Not Amanda's voice anymore. Lower, heavier, layered, like two voices pressed together. Every nerve in my body screamed. My whole body clenched. The urge that had been building froze solid, like my own body was locking itself up. The one thing I came here to do was impossible now. I curled my legs tighter, pulling my feet off the ground so nothing showed in the gap. My hands shook so badly I dropped my phone. It clattered on the tile, echoing like a gunshot. I snatched it up. The screen lit, but no bars. Signal dead, useless. I dared a glance under the door. The shoes were gone, just empty tile. For a split second, relief fluttered through me. Gone. It was gone. But the thought of stepping out froze me in place. What if it was still out there? I sat there, completely paralyzed, every muscle locked tight. My chest felt heavy, my arms stiff, like I was frozen in place by something more than fear. My stomach twisted tighter and tighter until it hurt. I couldn't move, couldn't think. Just hunched there, trembling, waiting for something, anything, to happen. Minutes dragged by like hours before the silence finally broke. And that's when the restroom door creaked open. Laughter, two voices, teenage boys, loud, careless, alive in a way I wasn't. One of them headed to the sinks, faucet running full blast. Their footsteps echoed, carefree, belonging to people who weren't carrying the weight of what I'd just heard. I seized the chance, shot up, yanked my pants, and burst out of the stall. I looked around, fear in my eyes, but thank God there was no Amanda, no, whatever that thing was. The boys jumped, startled by the noise. One of them froze mid-laugh, staring at me like I'd walked out of a crime scene. "You good, man?" he asked. I didn't answer, couldn't. My face must have said it all. I was pale, sweaty, shaking like I'd seen a murder. I pushed past them and bolted. The hallway stretched long and suffocating, but I didn't slow down until I was outside. The night air hit me sharp and cold. I staggered to the side of the building, bent over, gasping like I'd been drowning. My stomach was in knots, twisted so tight it felt like I'd never be able to eat again. My hands trembled as I lit a cigarette. The smoke burned, but it steadied me, barely. A sudden buzz in my hand made me jolt. My phone lit up. Amanda. For a second, I just stared at the screen. Frozen. Moments ago, her voice, or something wearing it, had been clawing at my stall door. Amanda, the girl I loved, the one who'd always been my comfort, was now the face of what had just scared the living shit out of me. I couldn't bring myself to take the call. Not right away. I sat there, torn between answering and just letting it ring out. Finally, I swiped, put it to my ear. "Hello?" My voice cracked. "Where the hell are you?" I was worried sick, her voice. Normal, soft, concerned, familiar. The second I heard it, something in me unclenched. For the first time since that stall, I felt like maybe I wasn't losing my mind. "Wait, is the movie over?" I asked, my voice trembling. "No. Once I realized you were gone too long, I got up, came outside, even checked the bathroom. Nothing. Babes, you don't sound right. Where are you?" "In the parking lot," I managed. "Stay right there. I'm coming." The line went dead before I could say anything else. Seconds later, Amanda rushed out of the theater doors. The second her eyes locked on me, she froze, her face dropping as she saw the sweat slicking my face and neck, the way my hands shook around the half-burnt cigarette. She ran to me and wrapped her arms around me, holding tight. "Baby, you all right? You don't look good. Let's get you home." She pulled back, searching my face. "Want me to drive?" I shook my head, forcing a steadiness I didn't feel. "No, I'll drive." She looked like she wanted to argue, but instead she nodded. "Okay, just let's go." Once we were on the road, and I'd steadied my breathing, Amanda finally spoke up. Her voice was softer now, but insistent. "What happened?" "You had me scared to death." And that's when it almost slipped. The truth, the footsteps, the voice, the scratching. It all rose to my throat, clawing to get out. I wanted to unload it, to make her understand what I'd just been through. But then it hit me. Telling her now, right here in the car, when I barely understood it myself. Bad idea. So I forced it back down. "Yeah, I'm not feeling too great," I said instead. "Stomach's all messed up. Threw up a couple times." She glanced at me, her expression tightening. "Mark, you were trembling back there. That's not what happens when you've just got an upset stomach." She paused, then softened, placing her hand over mine. "But don't worry. You don't have to say anything right now. I can understand. You need rest, baby. I'll call you tomorrow." I nodded, but stayed quiet the rest of the drive, staring out the windshield, my thoughts gnawing at me. At home, my brother looked at me from the couch and raised an eyebrow. "Man, you all right? You look like shit." I just nodded, walked past him, went straight to the backyard, and lit another cigarette, and another, and another. By 4 a.m., the pack was gone. I couldn't sleep, couldn't eat. I just sat there in the dark, replaying it again and again in my head. The footsteps, the voice, the scratching. the door shaking under her fists, the sound of my name, twisted and wrong. Every time I closed my eyes, I was back in that stall. The next evening, I took Amanda out to dinner. We sat at this cozy little diner we liked. She kept checking on me, brushing her hand over mine, asking if I was okay. But looking at Amanda still gave me the creeps, like at any second her voice might drop into that same warped growl I'd heard in the stall. Sometimes I even caught myself wondering if the girl across from me was really Amanda at all. Every time Amanda reached across the table and placed her hand on mine, I tried to return the gesture, but she could feel it, the stiffness, the slight pullback. I wasn't all there. I couldn't be. Eventually I looked her in the eye and told her everything. From the moment I sat down to the second the boys came in, she didn't laugh, didn't mock me, just listened. When I finished, she took a deep breath and said, "Why didn't you tell me about it last night?" But I can understand. Honestly, I probably would have done the same if I'd gone through what you went through. Don't worry. She squeezed my hand gently. It's weird, Mark. It doesn't add up. But before we jump to conclusions, things happen in this world we can't really explain. I have a friend, and her dad's into paranormal stuff. Maybe we should see him. Her voice was calm, supportive, but in the back of my mind, I could still hear that other one. The warped version, the growl. I shook my head. I didn't want answers, not the kind I knew I'd get. I didn't want someone telling me something was following me or attached to me. I wanted to forget it, bury it, pretend it never happened. It's been 6 months now, but so far nothing else has happened. No scratches at my door, no voices in the dark, but the questions won't leave me. What was that thing waiting outside the stall? Why did it sound like Amanda? What did it really want from me? What would I have done if those boys never showed up? For one horrible second, I thought I might never leave that stall alive. And the worst of it all, I don't even know what that thing really looked like. I only heard its voice, and I saw it standing there in Amanda's shoes. Maybe it's a mercy I didn't see the rest, because if I had, I'm not sure I'd be here to tell this. And then the question that keeps me up at night: what would have happened if I had opened the door and let her in? Even now, every time I sit in the loo, my eyes lock on the door. I wait, stiff as stone, half expecting to hear it again. That voice, low, heavy, whispering, "Mark, open up."